Hello, welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Now, we've just had a new pack released just a few days ago, and we've had a new Assetto Corsa update. This is of course for the PC. I think the consoles also had an update, but it may be slightly different as to what's been released on what. And as usual, I check these things out on PC, so that's what I'm going to be looking at. You can see right now I've got a McLaren P1 GTR. And I'm just setting up my head tracking, make sure my head tracking is working correctly. But the main thing here is the car. It's a P1 GTR. But before we get into that car, we're going to talk about the 1.14 update and the Ready to Race DLC, which this car is a part of. So, 1.14 update has brought a number of changes. One of them quite significant, as I hit the hooter by mistake. One of them quite significant, but I'll talk about that in a few seconds because we're going to have to do quite a bit of testing. Actually, now that I mention that, it could be 2 or 3 that are quite significant. We've got new autosave. That doesn't really matter. That's not a big thing here. Pit stop animations. There's some bug fixing here with the pit stops and VR setups and all that kind of stuff. This is one of the big important ones. Added wind algorithm and added wind. So now I've checked this out. It looks like we can have, at the moment, it doesn't seem to show the wind in, or it doesn't allow us to set the wind as anything, a specific mile per hour or specific kilometer per hour wind or specific knot wind or meters per second, however you want to measure the speed of wind. What it does do though is it allows us to have a random, strong, medium and weak wind, and it allows us to give us a direction, north, south, east, west, I believe. I don't think this wind is dynamic, so I think once you set up the wind, it just stays as wind at the moment. But at least we know that they're working on this. So now that we've actually got wind effects in Assetto Corsa, hopefully we should be getting some aerodynamic differences. So if you're going into headwind, things are going to be different. If you're going into tailwind, things are going to be different. Crosswinds, this, that, and the other. Particularly, I believe, with formula style cars. So this is something I'm definitely going to have to check at some point. But of course, we've got lots and lots of other things to check before that. We've also got some tweaked backfire flash flames in many cars, so I think they may have adjusted them, made new ones. I'm not exactly sure. Again, this is going to be tested as and when we get around to them. We've got a digital panel script for some of these new cars to display current position in races and things like that, so that's pretty cool. Fuel percentage script show fuel quantity as a percentage for the McLaren 570S, which is one of the cars in this pack, which means that if we've got that should allow us to make some apps, more apps where we can display the percentage of fuel that's left in the car as opposed to just liters or anything. That should be pretty interesting. We've got some broken UI interaction when pit stops were not finished, and that I think I was suffering from this, where I couldn't get the pit stops working properly. Things were just breaking all the way. We've got fixed tire thermal value for exploded tires, so that's an interesting one. At least we should be able to see exploded tires better. Added a push to pause system. This is currently available in the Audi TT Cup car, and that depends on your grid position, and it's only available in practice and race sessions, so it's more like, you know, a real actual racing, so you've got proper push to pause systems. This should be interesting. When I get around to testing the Audi TT Cup car, I might actually give this a go in the race. We've got physics options for different fuel weights and densities. Now this is, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but there's an optional section in the car.ini when you've got these cars, and it allows us to change a few things there. There's been some tire wear adjustments, particularly to the Lotus 98T, black flags, online time of day. We can now change the multipliers, animated starting lights on tracks. This is something I definitely have to test. I think I might test this with the Audi TT when I get around to doing that. I would love to see this. Silverstone might be a good one to test out. Catalonia, Mugello, somewhere like that. That should be pretty cool. Blink feature to RPM series script. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but you know, all updated cars are, or all relevant cars have been updated. We'll have to see. Like I said, I mentioned wind. Added restrictors. Now this is quite interesting as well. I think this is going to allow us to open up some different types of racing, which should be pretty cool. And this is the other big one. I think added AI aggression selection and more AI differences within a single lap to generate more battles. Added AI wing setup variations. Removed AI slowdown hack for cars with spool differentials. Fixed AI giving away green light by flooring gas 500 milliseconds in advance. New AI algorithms for understeer detection and downshifting. So that's a lot of work on the AI. Apparently they say that they've improved the AI quite a bit. It should be very exciting. I can't wait to try this out. I am definitely going to try this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the AI can do, particularly as you guys know, in any video I've done with AI, most of my positions are gained directly off the start line, and that I think has been addressed with this, which one was it? Fixed AI giving away green light by flooring gas 500 milliseconds in advance. I think that has fixed this whole idea of you being able to jump a whole bunch of cars at the start. You know, I've actually managed to, at one point, I've managed to jump something like a whole 10 cars at the start of a race. So there's that. Apart from that, virtual desktop's functionality to in-game GUI, cyclable through Control U, we'll have to have a look at that. Fixed Nissan Skyline R34 not having downshift protection, when it shouldn't. Variation sliders for AI. Fixed texture maps on some cars. Nation flag support. A few templates added, particularly for the new cars, and obviously new functions in Python for get wind speed, get wind direction, get driver nation code, and get car skin. This should allow us to actually This should allow us to actually have the apps working and updated, and have more information available via an app somewhere. And last but not least, Porsche 911 RSR 2017 official WEC liveries added. So there we go. Those are not every single one of the bits of the changelog, but that is the gist of the changelog that I seem to have found, and a number of important things written right there. Now, we've also got the Ready to Race DLC, and I'll read this from their Steam page. Ready to Race is a new DLC for the Assetto Corsa, now available on Steam and will be coming to PS4 and Xbox One later this year. It includes 10 new cars from Audi, Lotus, McLaren, Maserati and Toyota, providing the most wanted models ready to race. The RTR DLC provides a great variety of models that mix technology, power, history and design from Italy, Great Britain and Japan, resulting in a package able to meet all your wishes. Now, I hope this is true, because these are the cars that are included. Audi R8 LMS 2016, Audi R18 e-tron Quattro, Audi TT Cup 2016, Audi TTRS VLN, Lotus 311, Maserati MC12 GT1, McLaren 570S, that's the baby McLaren, McLaren P1 GTR, which I'm driving right now as I hit my steering wheel, Toyota Celica ST185 Turbo, and Toyota TS040 Hybrid. So this is interesting. We've got some endurance cars to challenge the Porsche 918 and the Porsche 919s. So there's a couple of endurance cars in there. We've got a new endurance car in terms of a GT3 car. We've got the R8 LMS, got the TT Cup car. That's its a whole set on its own. A couple of road cars, the 311 and the 570S, and we've got the GTR, which is something that we can say we can compete with the Ferrari FXXK. And of course we've got the Maserati MC12 GT1, which is a very popular car in its own right. I think it won 40 races out of 90 it took part in or something. It won 40 of them, so pretty good car. Anyway, that's enough of that. It's time to have a look at this McLaren P1 GTR. As you can see, I'm at Donington Circuit, and using Content Manager, I've actually got real life conditions. So when this video goes up, which should be Sunday night, this is the actual weather conditions that were at Donington Park Sunday afternoon at exactly 1:30. So same temperature. I think it's about 16 degrees. It's about 16 degrees here as well. So at 16 degrees, very light wind. I think just about 1 kilometer an hour wind, which was blowing in an easterly direction. And I sound like a meteorologist now, but there we go. And it was scattered clouds. So that's that. And the ambient temperature, all that's been put in, wind, all that stuff, humidity I think was sorted out. I think it's fairly cool. So let's get on with the McLaren P1 GTR. We've already seen the P1. I did a huge thing on the P1 versus the 918 versus the LaFerrari. If you haven't checked that video out, do check that video out. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. But this is sort of the upgraded, the boosted, the top of the range, the ultimate version of the McLaren P1, just like the FXXK is the ultimate version of the LaFerrari. This was designed to celebrate 20 years since their victory in 1995's 24-hour Le Mans in the McLaren F1 GTR, which we also have in this in Assetto Corsa, or in this simulator. So they brought this GTR name back and they made this track-only version. Now, pay close attention. Wow, just had a complete blank moment there. Pay close attention to that track only version, just like the Ferrari FXXK. Limited only to 58 units. This was only available to P1 owners at the start, but I think other people have managed to buy them yet. And the concept came out a few years ago. I think it's a bit old now. 2013? No, 2014 is when the concept came out at Pebble Beach, I think. And it was summer 2014. This car itself, when it was new, cost £1.9 million. That's what? A million more than... Yeah, it's about over $1 million more than a standard P1. Of course, that allows them to do the same thing that they do with the FXXK, which is they keep the car, take it to track days for you. You go to a track, you have a personal trainer, they teach you how to drive the car, this, that, and the other. But if you wanted one, you know, without the whole idea of going on track days, so I just wanted to collect it, which personally, for a car like this, I don't agree with. I think cars should be driven. I really think cars like this should be driven, but you know, to each their own. And you could purchase it for $1.7 million. I doubt anyone watching this video has that kind of money, but you know, if you do, maybe you can get hold of one of these, even though they're all sold out. You never know, someone might want to sell it to you. This car itself has an updated engine. It's still the 3.8 litre twin turbo V8, as you can hear very, very clearly, but they've managed to tweak it, and I'm not sure whether they tweaked the engine or the electrical power. I think it's been a bit of tweaking on both, and it provides a power output of 987 brake horsepower, which is up what? It was 882. It's up 100. No, it was in the low 900. So I think it's gone up about 80. I'd say about 80, 85 brake horsepower is what it's gone up. Unfortunately, it did not manage to reach that 1000 bhp, but it did get to 1000 ps, so you know, it does have a 1000 somewhere. Slick tires are available on this car, so hard, medium and soft, as you would expect. There's no semi-slicks or performance road tires or anything. This is a track focused car. Apart from that, everything else seems fairly the same as the P1 in terms of specs. It is 50 kilos lighter. Is it 50 kilos? Yeah, it's about 50 kilos lighter. So I think that brings it into, what, 1,400? Something like that, 1,400 kilograms or something. And that means it does do 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds, coupled with these sticky slick tires, and a top speed of 225 miles per hour. Now, I think, was the P1 limited to 223? So they've managed to get another couple of miles an hour out of this. Now, the biggest changes, of course, are in how it looks, and that's a good way to go into what we have in Assetto Corsa. You can see it's got a fixed rear wing. It's got a redesigned exhaust pipe. You got it's no longer, you know, one big exhaust pipe. It's got two distinct pipes that you can see protruding. Wow, I'm having trouble with words today. Out of the back of the car. The front splitter looks more like a GT car. It's very, very different from the normal P1. The back of the car has been completely redesigned with the diffuser and everything to really focus on track and to make it very, very track focused. And of course, because of the fixed wing, they can get rid of all that technology needed to have that wing that pops out and anything, and just bolt on one fixed wing that does have DRS working on it. So you do have DRS with it. I think it looks really, really cool, and I do like the fact, if you just take a look at where the mirrors are, the wing mirrors are connected. You'll see when I take this next left-hander, this left-hand hairpin. The wing mirrors, as I go way, way wide, are on the A-arms as opposed to lower down. And I think that's pretty cool. I think it looks very, very nice. Inside, everything looks really, really simple in terms of it looks like a P1, but it also has this Formula 1-esque style racing wheel, or perhaps you could say endurance GT3 style racing wheel, and it's got this little display in the middle as well, which shows on a little readout that looks like something you find in a shop, you know, in your Walmart or your Asda or your Sainsbury's or whatever, Target. Little bit of a display there that gives you your lap time and how much you're up and down, which is pretty fancy. And of course, you've got a little bit of a clock just down at the bottom, which you can read there. It says 1337. That's elite. So you've got all of that. It looks very good. Assetto Corsa modelling is top notch as always. Texturing, however, whilst inside again is absolutely great. You know, that looks fantastic inside. Outside again is a disappointment. They seem to be doing this more and more now. I zoomed in on this and it's really it's blurry, and I'm not sure why. I mean, is this something that they're just doing to save time because it takes them a lot longer to make higher quality textures, or have they dropped the texture quality outside? From a replay, you know, it doesn't look bad at all, but if you're taking close-up screenshots, it looks really, really poor. So if you do want to be taking screenshots, you will need to be looking at 4K or 8K textures, or just better textures than these for the outside. Bit of a disappointment there. Sounds-wise, sounds just like I would expect. You know, I can tell it's a V8. I can hear the turbos just there. There you go. That's a prime example. The overrun is great. The backfire is, you know, standard backfire. I think it sounds very, very good on the inside. On the outside, same thing. One thing I have noticed, I think the reason these sound a little bit odd is that they just seem to be missing a bit of a reverb that goes on around a racetrack. And I think that's just causing this slight odd sound, because when you hear these cars in tunnels in Assetto Corsa, they sound far more like you would expect. They sound far more realistic. So I think that may be throwing a lot of us off. So, you know, something to keep in mind. Last but not least, as I'm flying through this has got to be the big one. It's physics. What is this car like to drive? Well, first of all, it's incredibly grippy. I've got it on medium tires. Very, very, very grippy. But it does have extremely stiff suspension, and the rebound on it is very, very brutal. It's very, very stiff. If you go over bumps, it knows it's a track car. It feels like a track car. You're going to have to grip the wheel before it throws you out. So very, very important to do that. I think I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did thoroughly enjoy this car. It's a great drive, and you do, even on these medium tires, as you, like for example, come out this corner, you can see I can have that very slight amount of oversteer, so I just have to do minor corrections, which means you can boot this out of a corner at a pretty, you know, pretty fast rate. So that's something to consider, something to definitely consider. And overall, I'm just thinking, as I come onto my cooldown lap with I think I got a 129, a high 1 minute 29. I think I could have got a low 1 minute 29, to be fair. I could have got into the 128s, but I think I need a little bit more practice. Force feedback was pretty heavy on it. It did take a lot out of me. Plus the leather is a little hard on my wheel at the moment, so hurts my thumb. Anyway, overall impressions, I think it's a great car. Textures on the outside disappointed. Physics wise, it's really nice. Sound wise, it's pretty decent. And overall, I'm going to give this car a 9 out of 10. For the car itself, it's a 10 out of 10 car, but for it in Assetto Corsa, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, taking off a whole mark because of those outside textures. And yeah, so that's essentially it. That brings me to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you're on YouTube, please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, and leave a comment in the comments box below. If you're on Twitch, please do hit the thumbs up and give me a follow. And last but not least, do check out my Patreon scheme. Link to that is in the description box below. I would massively appreciate your support. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time.